Real Enigmas and Theories is back again with another live stream. How we doing out there, Fremily? Yes, indeed. We back for the Hump Day live stream. We're going to talk about some of these conversations that have been going on in the woods. And we'll let that take us to other places. Taran and I will be going on today. He's going to join the stream a little later, so I'm going to get us started. Let's see what we got here. Everybody's in here. Carrie, how you doing? Good to see you. Del Senior is in the building. Yes, indeed. Chocolate Beauty's in the building. Hey, cousin, how you doing? We got Dieter in the building. Yes. Dr. Deb is in the building. Hello, Fromily, listening while I'm working, says Patricia. How you doing, Patricia? Nice. Good to have you here. We got the best English fun. What's going on? Haven't seen you here before. Good to see you. Nice to see you here. We got, oh, yes, indeed. We got Golden Child in the building for sure. Yes. Bitey is here. We have Andrew West in the building. Dope. Yes. It's evening where he's at. Caleb is here. What's going on, Caleb? Yeah. What's good, everyone? What's up, Percy? Percy's in the building. We got Percy here. Percy says, what's up, Real Enigmas? What's up, chat? We got Nene in the building. Nene is here. Yes, Nene's in the building with us. Good to have you here. Good to have all of you here. Let me see something real quick. Let me try something. Okay. Okay, we just made a couple changes to the stream real quick. We got everybody in. We got everybody in. Okay. So we're going to talk about some conversations in the woods. And just a little bit of thoughts that we've had recently and while we've been watching the show about Donna, about our friend Donna. I want to play a conversation between Boyd and Kenny that they had in the woods when Kenny was chopping down a tree. But before I say that, before I do that, I want to talk about a couple of things first. Okay, we got more people coming in the building. We got Darren Boy in the building. We have Cal in the building. Laser Bean Sports. Dope. Okay. Nice to see you. Okay. So the list of things that make Donna look fishy, as I said before, are thicker than a stack of Lonely Dragon pancakes, right? Like, Donna, we talked about her questionable judgment when it came to Julie leaving her family and going up to stay at Colony House. We talked about Donna always having her hands in her pocket. We talked about her being oddly happy for Fatima being pregnant. We talked about the way she likes to keep things from people. She wanted to conceal the fact that they were running out of food. And she also was who wanted to conceal the fact that they made contact with someone on the radio, that they heard a voice on the radio. She also wanted to conceal those things. And then we have the whole thing where in episode 1 when Boyd comes up to Colony House to see his son, um, she said, "Boyd, you know you don't come up here." And so there seems to be some like real tension in a conversation that Kenny and Boyd were having in the woods. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and play it. I'll go ahead and play it. Let's see here. Let's pull it up, play it.
No!
Kenny,
Where's the family?
Father Kachi's bringing them back up to Colony House.
They shouldn't be up there.
Okay, so there obviously was something there. My fault. My microphone wasn't on. So there's obviously something there. Something was going on with the two the town sheriff and the I don't know what you the leader of Colony House. And at the beginning of the show, they point that out clearly. There was a problem with Boyd coming up to Colony House. I wonder what that was about. Um when you look at what she said to him, she said, "You know, we have an agreement. You know you don't come up here." So some people think that that had to do with Ellis. And it could have been about Ellis, but I doubt that because when he says, "I'm coming up here to see my son," that's why she lets him up there. So if that was the reason, she would simply tell him, like, "No, that's why you can't come up here. It's because, you and your son. We don't want y'all going through it. I don't want you bothering him." Whatever the case may be. We all know now, why. I remember watching the show, wondering why Ellis was like that with his father. And the way they explained it was crazy. And they made a point to explain it after showing how the talismans worked in the vestibule at Colony House. So they made that a point, and then they circled back to it again when Ellis was forgiving his father and saying that we wouldn't have been safe if you wouldn't have found the talismans. So I don't think that the conflict between Boyd and Donna had anything to do with Ellis. Because Boyd says, "Hey, I'm up here to see my son." And that's when she let him go up to the room and see his son. So here we are, right? What is it with that? And then we have Kenny. Kenny says flat out to Boyd, he says, "Where's the family at?" He says, "I've got them situated up at Colony House. That's what they wanted." And Kenny says they shouldn't be there. And so why shouldn't they be there? You know, the most obvious reason is because they have children and there's a lot of shit going on at Colony House that's inappropriate for children. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't seem like the people give a shit that they have children. You seen the people that they were like right up 10 feet away while they was, having a sex scene on the couch. So the people don't give a shit about them having kids at all. Um, and I think that's could have been the obvious of what Kenny was talking about. But Kenny and Ellis also have some sort of contention with one another. And I'm just saying that this conversation in the woods that Boyd and Kenny have, why would Kenny say that the family shouldn't be up at Colony House? What is the problem? What's the problem that Donna and Boyd had? And Donna also has made several references to this place being a game. I think that she's made more references to this than any other character. Taran's in the building. How you doing, my brother? How you?
Hey man, you may hear me munching on my dinner in the background, but I'm here. Thank you for having me on. You had a
Yes,
few
as
things
always.
you wanted to talk about today. Do you remember what all of them were?
Yes, yes, indeed. We were going to talk about the conversations in the woods. We were going to talk about Providence, and because that's part of the conversation in the wood, Providence. Um, we're going to talk about the H.P.
Victor Hugo,
Lovecraft
maybe?
and the Victor Hugo. We're going to talk about several connections today, but you know, yeah, and that's good. Andrew West says when Jim and Boyd, when Jim and Randall talked about it being an experiment. Yes. So they talk about, and I want to say this. I want to stop real quick. I got to stop the stream because she's here. The sponsor for today's stream is in the building. And this show is sponsored today by the beautiful CA 1983. I know she didn't want me to mention this, but I have to mention it. I'd be remiss if I didn't. And I didn't notice it when it happened, but last Saturday, super chats was going all crazy. Um, Memberships was going off crazy. I think we got like 25 new members that stream. Um, and then CA, she sent a very generous donation to the trip for of $100 and via Cash App. I didn't see it during the stream, and I definitely wanted to say something about it. But thank you, sis. I want to let you know, like, you are totally appreciated here. And you've pretty much sponsored this stream right here, the stream that we're on currently right now. So thank you very much, sis. Everybody in the chat, please thank her and let her know how much of a beautiful person she is. That's the largest super chat we've received thus far. And I think that
Amazing.
was great. Yeah, it was amazing
Amazing.
that she did that. You know,
Very, very, very kind and generous.
yes, yes. And sis, please forgive me if you don't be mad at me for, telling people because I was so happy when you did that. When I got off the stream, I noticed I got the message. It came in my text messages, and I was like, oh wow, like I couldn't believe it. So I hope you not, and we talked about it, you know what I'm saying, but I hope you're not mad at me for saying something. And peace and wellness to you. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we got so much love in the chat. So much love in the chat. So much love. Big up, big up. She's definitely the sponsor. Yes. So, okay, getting back to the discussion. I know that a lot of people think that Tilly is some sort of mole. I just don't feel like the things that make us look at her are actually significant. The only significant thing I can think of is her telling Christy that Sarah was in town again. And yes, thank you. Thank you. It's all love. And I think that that's probably the only thing. Like the other thing probably the morphine. If y'all want to give it up to the morphine, y'all could say that her bringing that in there was enticing the girl's girlfriend or whatever. That's cool, but it still doesn't really push anything forward. Like Donna, like Donna telling Jim not to tell anyone about the voice on the radio is wild. Donna telling them to burn the body of the Smiles Davis, that's crazy. Donna not telling people about the food shortage is insane. Like, her being happy for someone getting pregnant in a place like this is ridiculous. So these things actually, and we have not seen anything with Donna by herself. She's one of the main characters, obviously. And we haven't seen anything with her by herself. And you can say, oh, well, we haven't seen anything with Tilly by herself either. Yeah, but she's not one of the main characters. You know what I'm saying? We seen Boyd dealing with the situation with his arm shaking by himself. We seen Boyd screaming in the mirror by himself. We've seen scenes with him by himself. But we have not seen any with Donna, and she's a main character. When you think about the Father Khatri situation, they showed us his motives. They showed us him by himself meditating. They showed us his motives with Sarah. But we haven't seen anything with Donna. And the only thing close is just like a off-the-cuff conversation that she has with Dale outside of the post office about playing along with the game. So I don't know, y'all. Like the weight is stacked up on Donna, and I can put a couple weights on Tilly. Maybe the eye patch girl. What's her name? Clara. I don't think, or Carla or Clara. I forget which one it is. I don't think she has anything to do with it in that level. On that level, I don't think she's not important enough to where you give a damn if she's a mole or not. If she's a mole, you don't care, right? Because you're like, okay, you don't feel betrayed. Tilly, if she's a mole, you wouldn't feel betrayed. As a matter of fact, you'd be sitting there saying, I knew it was her. Yeah, I could see. But see, the thing about it is they want you to think that. So, okay, it's Clara. It's Clara. So, okay, so Cal says, so just clear it up for me. A mole wasn't confirmed by the writers and just from what Randall said. No, a mole was confirmed. And
Was it?
yeah,
Where?
someone said that the mole was confirmed.
Man, people have been saying stuff like this on Reddit, on Facebook, but I've read a lot of interviews by the showrunners, like pretty much all of them.
And you
I
haven't
actually
seen it?
I've never seen anything. So let me tell you, I went through pretty much every interview they ever did, and I compiled every quote that they ever said about whether there's going to be, an ending to the show that's satisfying. Do they know where it's going? Comparing it to Lost and whether they would have answers, that sort of thing, right? So, um, the showrunners. So I've read pretty much every interview, and they've never mentioned anything about a mole, as far as I know. They never said that there was some sort of prize, as far as I know, but people have been saying that it's confirmed that there's like $100,000 prize for whoever solves it. I mean, I would love that. I think that would be one of the most amazing marketing gimmicks for the show ever. I don't even think it needs to be $100,000. I think $10,000 for whoever gets the closest, voted by the showrunners to see who got closest. That would be amazing. But and if I won, I would probably donate that to charity or something. I don't know. I'm not trying to get them to give me money. I'm just saying I think it would get a lot of people to watch the show if there was a prize. But like people have said, it's confirmed. The showrunner said there's a prize. I think one of the actors posted like an Instagram story being like, "Who's the mole?" question mark question mark. Probably because From fans have been messaging them saying, "You're the mole. I know you're the mole." So they know it's like part of the From communities, like, dialogue. Like, is there a mole? Isn't there a mole? But I don't think that proves there's a mole. I think the only people who know there's a mole are the showrunners, or if there is a mole, they would know about it in season 3. But they did that in like season 2. So look, all I'm saying is I've read every interview they've ever done, as far as I know. Maybe I've missed a couple, but I'm pretty sure I've read them all. I've even watched this like super rare podcast where John Griffin gets interviewed, like before From even came out, I think it was. But yeah, I've never heard anything like that myself. Sorry, I talked for way too long there. Apologies. Real, you there? I think we lost Real.
Okay, no, I'm here.
Oh,
I
there you
was
are.
I was
Sorry.
saying, I actually haven't done the actual research. I have heard several creators saying it. I think I even heard Tony say it as well. I'm not sure. But that there was some it might have even been in one of the interviews that of Jeff Pinkner. So
If it's there, I will very happily eat crow. If they confirm there's a mole, that will be very, very interesting. But I've never
okay.
seen anyone post it or link to it or anything.
Now I've had my suspicions of Donna since last year, and I've never referred to her as a mole, so to speak. I've always said that she knows something that we don't. I think that she is deeply involved, and my suspicion of her has definitely grown. It has definitely grown, especially with her being happy about Fatima's pregnancy. That really threw me off because I was like, why is she happy about that? This is a terrible place to raise children. This is a terrible place to have a baby. And you know, I, I've I've seen pregnant women, and I would think that it would be a terrible place to just be pregnant. Like all the different mood swings, emotions, all the shit going on. Like it would just be terrible place to be pregnant. I don't even understand why she would be happy about that in the midst of a food shortage. Because the food shortage was valid and understood when Donna, she was literally in the greenhouse saying that the food wasn't grown. And she gets happy. Like I just don't understand that. That one that takes me for a loop. So I I haven't said that she's a mole, but I have said that she is she knows something that we don't know. I think she's suspect for sure. Um, but yeah, uh, I'm wondering what was the deal. Okay, so there was definitely some contention between her and Boyd in the very first episode. First time we see Donna, we see her being rude to Boyd. Like, hey, you're not supposed to come up here.
Hmm.
So there was something there.
Do you think it
Um,
was at the Abby's like massacre where she shot a bunch of people? Do you think that was when Colony House and the town split?
it couldn't have been because there was no colony house yet. There was no, he was coming in with the talismans. I could see that
Oh,
I gave her an excuse. I said, okay, so maybe she's mad at Boyd because the one lady that Abby shot last, Donna was really like on the ground crying and everything
yeah,
when she shot that
she
lady.
like ran into gunfire.
Yeah, she
After
was
that.
about to get
That
shot.
was crazy.
Yeah,
I don't
she
know why
ran.
she did that.
Yeah, I don't understand why because her not running her not running away and trying to shield herself from gunfire is crazy, right? Why would she run out there? And then, okay, so I could see her being pissed off at Boyd in the same fashion as Ellis. Like, why weren't you here taking care of your wife? Why weren't you here taking care of your family? It has caused many people to die by the hands of your wife. But then he brings the talismans and he had to shoot his wife. So like any kind of like if it was me, any kind of being mad at him for not being there for his wife would have made me be like, oh well, he just had to kill her. And then he brought the talismans in and pretty much saved the entire town. He saved everybody. I mean, it was a fair trade. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to say it like to be callous about the people losing their lives, but it was honestly a fair trade. It was
Yeah.
honestly a fair trade. Those few people died by the hands of Abby. Abby dies by the hands of Boyd. Boyd comes in with talismans that save everybody else. So it's like a fair trade, and I don't understand why there would be a rift between him and Donna. Something had to happen,
Maybe it's
and
over Ellis.
I couldn't see it being over Ellis because when he came up there to Colony House, he said, "I'm just up here to see my son," and that's the reason why she let him come up there. So it can't be the reason why it
Yeah.
was keeping him
No, you're
away.
right. You're right about that. I don't understand why the rift, especially as they never discuss the rift when they forgive each other, or like she hugs him on his way off on his journey, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
They
here
don't
we are.
discuss like, "I forgive you for that thing you did that, meant you couldn't come to Colony House." And, it only seemed to apply to Boyd as well.
Right. It only seemed to apply to Boyd. Now, let's just say this. Let's say that Donna does know something that we don't know.
Oh, she
She's
definitely does. Oh my
right.
god.
She's
100%.
been the person on the show who has spoke about the game more than anybody.
Yep.
She's been the main character that's referencing games. Wouldn't it I mean, wouldn't that seem like she was creating teams if she was creating a rift with Boyd who's down in the town and she's the runner of Colony House, which is kind of separate from
Mm,
town. Like
mm.
she's the one creating the game atmosphere.
Well, look, I believe that Donna is very old. I think she's over 500 years old. Um, I think that she's actually, Bridget of York, um,
Mm, look at
from
that
history,
comment.
and, I believe that Donna is the avatar for basically one of 7 beings in Fromland, 4 of whom are players, and the other 3, I don't really know exactly what they're doing at the moment. I think they're sort of participants. Tilly is the avatar for one of them, I believe. Um, I
Hmm.
think I think Tilly is the avatar for, um, the, uh, the one who is currently, um, the hag.
Look at this comment. Cal says Donna could be having visions and being told things like the others, but not telling anyone.
Oh, I'm certain she is. I mean,
And then
first of all, the
Alyssa says,
spider,
I could totally see that with her headache too. She
that's
seems
it.
like the type of person that would hide it.
We discussed this on our last live. We discussed how Donna's headache was because everyone's screaming at her that Boyd's let the boogeyman out from Martin's body and he's free now. The boogeyman was stuck in the prison. The prison is one of the hazards in the game of Goose, which is the board game that's being played by these 4 players. So he was stuck in this hazard, basically. It's like going to jail in Monopoly, guys. So
Right.
so he was trapped there. His avatar, his game piece, Martin, was trapped in this hazard, this prison, right? And I think when Julie, Marielle, and Randall ended up in the prison, I think partly it might have been because the witch had played 3 pieces. They'd had 3 turns, and all 3 of her turns sent her pieces into the prison.
Yo, we just got a super chat from V Love on Cash App for $10. V Love says, "You and Taran are the best." Well, thank you very much. We just got
Yeah,
that
thank you.
super chat via Cash App. I'm trying to keep like my email up so that like I'll see these things when they happen now. So yeah, that was pretty dope. I've also put the PayPal link in there, but I don't even want to talk about donations or like that. Like this conversation we're having is crazy. I want to comment on what Dr. Deb says. But V Love, thank you again for your gracious donation. Thank you very much. It's well appreciated. Dr. Deb says, my guess is that Ellis was upset with Boyd for shooting Abby and Donna was being protective of his wishes. Yes, but again, why would Donna let Boyd come up there after he says, yo, I want to see my son? If that was the case, I could see that being a possibility. I'm not disputing that at all. As a matter of fact, that was my original thought. Like, why didn't she want him up there? It probably had to do with Ellis. You know what I mean? But it just doesn't make sense that then she would let him up by him saying, I want to see my son. Like that totally kills that whole notion that it's about Ellis. It's about something else. It's about something else. And I wonder if we'll ever get that. I don't know. You know? Somebody said, Bitey said, he could have said, I need to see Ellis. I need to see my son is more urgent. Right. That's true. That is true. I could see that. I could see him saying, I need to see my son. That's like he has something important to tell him.
I mean,
Or
it could, I just don't know what disagreement could they have about way of life. Like, you know, they say, you know, the town is about order, the town is about, you know, faith and chaos. You know, I think Colony but you know, they share everything,
ooh,
you know, they live communally. You know, what's the difference between them that's divided them? Are we ever gonna learn this? You
we
know?
got Wayne in the building. Wayne says, I think people in the town want to go home and the people at Colony House want to stay. Now, I can agree with you there with the exception of Tom. Tom at the bar, he was all about staying too. But then again, he's making alcohol, he's creating a bar, he's creating kind of like almost the same kind of atmosphere as Colony House.
I'm not
So
sure if he wants to stay. I think he's just given up on leaving and he's accepted his fate and he's sort of made his peace with it and he's sort of telling himself he's cool with it.
yeah, I totally agree with you there. And at the same time, I think there are people that have kind of accepted it, and there are very few people that want to actually go home. You know, I think everybody is just at this point trying not to get killed. That's like,
Chocolate Beauty donated 10 memberships.
oh, nice. Chocolate Beauty with the memberships popping. Chocolate Beauty, your generosity is well appreciated. Thank you very much. If you got one of those memberships, please thank Chocolate Beauty. Definitely thank Chocolate Beauty and celebrate with some of those emojis that we have. And everybody that has the emojis, go ahead and celebrate the new members that we just got on. We just got 10 new members. That's so dope. Yes, indeed. Don't forget to hit the like buttons, cousins. Yes, don't forget to hit that like button. How many likes we got in here? What's the ratio on likes and viewers? Okay, we got 30 likes and 83 people. Oh man, we can do better than that. Let's get the likes out here. We need the likes because the likes lets YouTube says, hey, people are liking this video. Let me put it out to more people that watch this stuff. So we want to get more people in here so that they can join in. I have it just the family in here, just the subscribers. And I'll be doing a members only a stream as well soon. Also, we're putting together another multiple creator live stream. We're trying to put that together. I've reached out to TV Theories. I've also reached out to Welcome to the Dark Side. Her channel covers From as well. I was checking her out last year. And yeah, she's pretty dope. She was watching my videos on the Changeling and From. So I thought she would be a good addition to bring up to the stream as well. Of course, we're gonna have Taran Matharu in the building. Tony Teflon is in the building. And if anybody can reach out to for me, if any of the mods or anybody that knows the brother, the movie guru, if y'all could reach out to him, we'd like to have him up here too. I believe that he was the first person to interview Taran. Am I right about that?
Yes, he was. I think he sent me a link on Reddit. I can't remember how. We haven't spoken in a long time. You know, I'd always be very happy to jump on his show if he invited me, but he hasn't invited me back. But yeah, he's a wonderful interviewer. I had a lot of fun on his channel, and you know, I think after I did my interview with him, he got like a crazy amount of new subscribers. Um, And yeah, I'd love to go back on his show, or I'd love to have him back on the live stream. But I don't know how to get in touch with him.
Okay, so yeah, I looked for him on Reddit. I couldn't find him. I think we were talking about doing a live stream together last year. It never happened, and we kind of lost contact. I did message the brother about something else later, but it wasn't about the stream. We never, linked up on the stream. I think we should do it. I think it'd be great. You know what I mean? Hopefully we can get him on this one. We're shooting for this weekend. Football starts this weekend, and that'll be a little bit hard for Tony. But Sunday seems to be working for everybody. But that's the first day of football season. So I don't know if we'll be able to get Tony in there. Maybe we can get him in for a little while, and he can hop off and go watch football, and then the stream will continue to play on his channel. I remember last time when we did it, when I hopped off, the stream continued to rock on the channel. So yeah, um, yeah, it would be dope to get everybody on. We'll see. We don't know exactly what day it's going to be, but I'll keep you posted. This time we're going to stream it from my channel. Last time we streamed it from his channel, and Tony and I are going to be the ones to keep like doing the multiple streams. This next one will be on my channel, then the following one will be on his channel, and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to gather the people that I can and have him on there. I wasn't able to stay the whole time the last time with him, and I don't think he'll be able to stay the whole time with me. But it's all good. Um, I don't want to really go on Saturday because he goes live later on that evening. But whatever. We'll figure it out and we'll let you guys know right away. I think those multi streams are dope to have all the different types of opinions and takes on the show all in one spot. Those are dope. Nobody else is really doing that with this show, and I think that we got a winner with that idea. I think that is a good idea. People are liking it. People love those streams. But yeah, let's get back to the show. Andrew says, see what was strange with Donna during the Radio Tower episode, she was the only one that was annoyed by the possibility of getting home. She was down and out about it almost. Yo, I totally felt the same vibes from her. It was almost like she was kind of salty that he was giving these people hope.
And she didn't want Boyd exploring either.
She didn't want Boyd going exploring.
She,
Exactly.
she accepted it when he was like, I'm going anyway. She's away from Colony House when Ellis is injured. She does an overnight at the Matthews house. And that I felt the writers did intentionally, because if Ellis got stabbed in the house while Donna was there, I think she would heal him there and then. I think Donna has healing powers, and I even think in like episode 7 or 8, I can't remember which, of season 3, she will actually be forced to heal someone who's about to die, and they're going to be like, how did you heal him? Maybe that could happen.
Yeah. Because here we are, another layer. Randall bust her head open, and it was bleeding. And there's no marks, no bruises, no blood the very next day. And I'm talking about like she was bleeding in the RV. She was bleeding when she was tied up to the tree. Her head was bleeding. She wiped the blood at one point and it came back.
Have you noticed that Donna always has her hands in her pockets as well?
And she's always got her hands in her pockets. You don't trust nobody that keep their hands in their pockets, yo.
Do you know why I think she keeps her hands in her pockets?
My theory was that she might be holding on to an amulet.
I think she's holding on to bread.
Ooh, now break that down.
So on the show, the 7 beings and the monsters evolve over time into mythological beings from different sort of mythologies, and that's why we have so many references to what seems like Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Christian mythology, all sorts of stuff. Now, in the current timeline, they are Northeast Canadian modern day mythological beings. So they are Cressy the dragon, the giant squid, a type of boogeyman from Northeast Canadian mythology called Bonhomme Setters, a giant spider, Bigfoot, Loup Garou, who's a type of werewolf, and the hag. And the monsters are at this point Newfoundland fairies. So if you investigate Newfoundland fairy mythology, you will see that to protect against them, Newfoundlanders, they or Newfies, I think they're also known as, they will put bread in their pockets, or they will turn their pockets inside out when they come across a fairy to protect them from them. And fairies in Newfoundland mythology are afraid of two things in particular: iron and bread. So, and what are Boyd and Abby called? Mr. Fish and Loaves and Iron Abbey.
Mm.
Now, what else do we know about Newfoundland fairies? Well, Newfoundland fairies, they supposedly tempt people into the woods using music. And what happens when Boyd hears the If I Had a Boat song?
That's
It,
when
it tempts
what?
him into the woods, right? That's
It
what
tempts him
that.
into the woods. I was about to say that's when he made the decision. That was the sign he was looking for.
The other thing fairies from Newfoundland are known to do is they're known to get people lost in the woods. They're also known for stealing household objects. And what do we find in the caves? Household objects.
Mm.
So they also supposedly live under hills. And there's a big when you look at the caves, the way they're built, they seem to be built into a hill, like a fairy hill. They're also connected to fairy trees, that sort of thing. So I believe on the show, what we're dealing with is the monsters either pretending to be or actually being Newfoundland fairies. And that's why I think Donna's hands are always in her pockets, because she's either ready to pull them inside out if she comes across a monster, or she's holding bread in her pockets like Newfoundlanders do. I also think that the iron torch that Boyd carries around may potentially be something that breaks the magic of Fromland, because iron weakens the monsters. So maybe that's why the torch allows him to see the prison. The only problem with this is he only sees it when he lights the torch. So I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm still what the prison is, how it changes, why Julie is somehow able to be there and in bed screaming at the same time is very confusing to me. I think it's kind of messy. I don't love its place in the show. But so I'll be
What are you
very
talking
curious.
about? Like the two different, like how they were in the bed and how they were also chained up?
Yeah, I didn't
Okay,
get
so
it. It doesn't fit into my
the
theory's
dream.
framework at all.
Okay, so the dream part fixes that. Anytime you see the music box, it's a dream. Now, this is what I believe. Let's say Boyd wouldn't have stopped the music box.
Okay.
I think that those three bodies would have disappeared and end up really there where in that dungeon.
We got a super chat.
Oh yeah,
Well, you got a super chat.
we got a super chat. £5 from Andrew West. Have a good time on the Canada trip.
A
Yes.
fellow Brit. Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you for your generosity and support for the trip. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. She says, Real Enigmas, please tell us your theories. Totally love the way you see the show so much. Thank you very much. Yes, again, and thank you again, Andrew, for your generosity. Yes, Taran does have great knowledge and theories. Like he is on
Thank
point.
you.
Wait,
Thank you very
just
much.
stay tuned. Wait for it. I'm gonna wait for a couple people more to get here, and then we're gonna segue into something that we were talking about earlier, Taran. Like, yeah, the way I hope you have the same like the way you arranged it, because you arranged it for people before, and I even got lost a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I got lost a little bit. Sometimes
Okay.
when you know something and you know it in your mind, it's kind of hard to get it to where you can get someone else to see it the same way you see it or understand what you're trying to say.
Of course,
Like
yeah.
even earlier, you were like, "Yo, I wish I could just dump this information from my head into your head." Pause.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I
it's
mean?
very difficult to explain, and sometimes I worry that if it plays out on screen, people might not understand it. But I'm gonna try and explain it. If are you asking me to try and explain it now?
Not right now, but we're
Oh,
gonna get there. We're gonna get
okay.
there. Yes,
All right.
Kyle is right. We there's more. Just wait for it, guys. It's coming. And it's gonna also we're gonna start it off with conversation in the woods. So you know what conversation I'm talking about with Boyd and Sarah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Well, have you already discussed the section you wanted to discuss?
No, the only
Okay,
yeah, actually, yeah, we're still kind of talking about it. My conversation in the woods was with it kind of adds on to what we were questioning last live about Donna and Boyd's rift between each other.
I see.
You know, it was just like it was just like adding some fuel to it for me. Kenny saying that the family shouldn't be up there, and is also a rift between Kenny and Ellis that was just like because they almost got it down in the kitchen. I mean, Ellis would have got his ass whooped, but I ain't just trying to say that, but you know, the dude that plays Kenny, Ricky, he's a martial artist. So in real life, that dude is trained to fight. And from what I'm hearing, he's a bad boy. I haven't seen none of his fights though, but I'm hearing dude is a bad boy. But yeah, him and Ellis been going back and forth. But don't sleep on Ellis though. Ellis look like he might knock a motherfucker out now. You never know. But there's obviously something going on. I mean, and you could tell when Ellis was like throwing shots about them leaving the spike strip out there. I would have been pissed about the spike strip too though. Cause it's like, damn, bro, we ain't got but so many, we don't have like a tire repair place around this motherfucker. Like you left the spike strips out, but we understand why you did so. But yeah, well, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. That's how we came together from the information. The information is what brought us together for sure. All right, so
One
oh,
more
we got
super
another
chat.
super chat. Vanessa, thank you very much for the generous donation. Dan underscore Frumlin, Parkland Media, and Geek Academy do from content. The movie guru introduced me to Taran. Your interviews with him last year last year were epic. Thank you. Yes, those interviews were dope. And that's how I heard Taran for the first time. Like I seen him on Reddit like maybe a couple of days before that interview for real. And I was like, yo, I'm right on time. And so that was real dope. Thank you again, Vanessa, for the super chat. We definitely appreciate that. Um, and you're right about those content creators. Frumlin, we definitely need to get in touch with him. Parkland Media is somebody who I want to get in touch with as well. The Geek Academy, I definitely want to get in touch with him as well. And like I said, the movie guru. Yeah, so I just think that that's a good mashup if we can get everybody on there. It doesn't have to be all at the same time. I know TV Theory says she's not available on Saturday. So I'll ask her about Thursday. I'm gonna say Friday. I just don't want to make it to where we're stepping on any other creators' toes when they go live. I know the main people to go live is me, Jeremy, and Tony. Who else goes live out there? Does anybody know?
I haven't seen anyone else.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody else going live. I think that me, Jeremy, and Tony should be on all of the streams. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I'm gonna reach out to Jeremy and see if he can join the next one too. And then the next one can be on his channel, maybe. Like I think that we're the only ones going live on the subject. So, and that's what's gonna keep us in the loop when the big creators come. Because season 3, all of the big YouTubers are coming. We talking about people with 1 million subs and shit like that.
And
You
it's
got
gonna
to
be surface level stuff. That's the sad part.
Yeah, and it's gonna be all surface level, but I do have faith in this From community. I think that the From community doesn't want the surface level shit. I think they really are going to, and even like, even when you look at like the surface level channels, the ones that just do the recaps, like even Tony, he comes with theories, he comes with a little something scholarship with his theory, he nails it all together. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't agree with him, he's putting in work. You got Jeremy, he's definitely putting in work. Jeremy's last video was fire. um I'm putting in some work. You have the movie guru, he put in some work. Everybody's putting in work, and I just think that, when those big creators come through, they're going to be getting 100,000 views a video easy, which will knock us out of the algorithm. So it's going to be up to you guys to keep fucking with us, to come see us, to share the videos, like the videos. And y'all know me, I don't even ask for that. I only have 2 videos asking for likes, shares, and all that. Like, I ask for comments more than anything because I like to have the discussion. That was the purpose of my page, was to find people like y'all to have this discussion with. And I think I found like the greatest group in the world to talk about this with. But
Hey, real, imagine if the creators of From watched all the lives, or like quite a few of them.
and you know what? I think that there are some lurkers in our midst, and not in a bad way. But I think that there are some people that have something to do with the show that might be listening to our voices right now. They might be in the chat.
It would be amazing.
Yes, indeed.
But they would
Guardian
never
Blossom.
comment. They would never comment. Maybe they would comment and they'd have like a super coded name. Like the creator or something like that. Because okay, so let's imagine you spend your entire life thinking of From, you come up with it, over, since 9/11 you've been thinking of this show. You spend your entire life wanting to get it made. It almost doesn't get made several times. It jumps from YouTube to Epix to MGM Plus. Then it gets sort of sold off in pieces around the world internationally. Then it ends up on Netflix, but only in some places. Like, imagine if you spent your whole life trying to make this thing. It finally happens. It's the first show he's ever made. It's the first ever big TV series he's ever run. Like, if it was your baby, if this was all you did, if this was your mission in life, this was your magnum opus, which I do genuinely believe this is John Griffin's magnum opus. I actually think that this TV series will be taught in film schools for generations. That's how good I think what's coming is going to be. Yeah, I think John Griffin would tune into the occasional live just to see what people are saying. What are they saying
I
about the
agree.
show?
I
You know,
agree.
now
I
would he be
think
on
so
every
as well.
live? I don't know. He's probably a very busy guy. In between seasons, they probably do just as much work as film locations, scripts, hiring, practical effects, costumes. They got to they're setting up season 4 right now. They're probably filming a few scenes potentially right now. I know it hasn't been renewed, but that's just because it hasn't been announced. And the way the show is going, I wouldn't be surprised if they've already greenlit it and they're just not going to say season 4's been renewed until the best time from a PR perspective. But sorry, I've gone on a
No,
ramble.
no, I'm with you 100%. And I agree that if I was creating a show and I used 2 decades of my life writing something and people were online talking about it, I'd definitely be watching to see what people are saying. We got a super chat from Chocolate Beauty real quick. I'm gonna get to that real quick, but I want to talk about what PM says. The movie guru put out a video with the theory that some of the people on From are NPCs and not real people. Can you comment on that? We're gonna get to that comment in a minute, but first, Chocolate Beauty puts a $5 super chat in the air. Says, "Can you please play your new video for us?" Which video? Which is it? The latest video that I dropped?
I think it's your shorts, man. The short that you did.
Okay, yeah. Chocolate Beauty. I have to thank her every time I think about this. Chocolate Beauty came up with the most wonderful idea to release a short, and she did this. She said this on the 21st of August, and she said, "You tomorrow's the 22nd. You should drop a short every day for 30 days until the premiere." And I am going to do that. And I've been doing that. I've been doing that. As a matter of fact, I did miss one day, but I put two up the next day. And it was the day that we did the multi-stream. I didn't have anything scheduled to drop on that day. But I've been dropping them every day since. We're on day 14. Day 14 today. Only a few more days to go. We got 14 more days to go, y'all. And then we're here. Like, it is what it is. We're here. We'll be here. I can't wait. No, how many days do we have? We have 18 more days to go. It's 18 days left. So we'll be here live and direct. I think it is, somebody said that it's dope to get the multi-stream for the pregame. I agree. We'll try that as well. You know, Angela Middleton says, "Thanks, Real and Taran. Always enjoyed your videos." But let's get back to what PM was saying. Okay, so about the NPCs, Taran and I just spoke on this earlier. I said if this has anything to do with science, and if this is anything based scientifically based, I believe that it will be some sort of video game that's being played, but it affects real people's lives. The stakes are real, and the players are being controlled. Um, the biggest clue for that to me is the Pac-Man street, where you drive down the street and you end up coming out on the other side of the street. I call that like the Pac-Man road. Then there's obviously some rules. There's obviously things in the woods that you can go get. You have ambulances there. Another ambulance has come in. You have goats and chickens and shit popping up. You have talismans out there in the woods that you had to go retrieve and bring back for them to be effective. Just there are a lot of game aspects. So I do agree with that. And also, I brought this up with Taran earlier. Um, in the town, you can see like when people are walking around carrying bags, all of them are carrying bags. And a lot of times they have the same movement. They'll all turn at the same time, or they'll all start walking. And then one stops, they all stop, and they're not even walking together. And you can see this throughout the show. Now that I say this, go back and watch it. Go to the episode where Victor gives Ethan the jacket. And right before Victor goes to knock on the door, right before he goes to knock on the door, um, somebody else comes with a bag, and Victor has a bag, and somebody else walks up on the porch right down the street and knocks on the door. And Victor comes and knocks on the door pretty much the exact same way that this person did. Like, there's not too many ways you could knock on the door, but it was just strange that fit in with like the whole NPC theory. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of scientific element to this show. However, that still doesn't negate the fact that this show is putting out historical reference after historical reference and clues that are literally embedded within the set design and the actual dialogue that will give you clues on certain things. And what we're about to get into right now with this segue, we're going to segue right into another conversation in the woods that was being held by Boyd and Sarah. And I'll let Taran go ahead and explain.
All right. So, um, Real and I are flying to Providence, probably on the weekend of the 5th episode of season 3. We're doing this because of a word that's used twice on the show. And that is the word providence. So believe it or not, on the show, providence is used twice. And I will give you the context for the use of the word providence. And we believe that this is a clue to H.P. Lovecraft and the town of Providence. So at one point, Father Catry says, that's not just a coincidence, that's providence. Now, that is an appropriate time to use the word providence. They've blended it into the dialogue very well. You know, he's a priest. He would talk about providence, which is when God sort of dictates something. It's like fate, fate that has been determined by God specifically. So it's a religious word in a way. But the second time it's used, it is inserted very awkwardly in the text. So I'll give you the context. So Boyd and Sarah are in the woods. Boyd's been written by the spiders. It's raining, and Boyd is starting to sort of weaken. They're heading towards the lighthouse, and she says, "We should look at those spider bites." And he goes, "I said I'm fine." And she goes, "No, you're not. What happened back there?" And he says, "Don't worry about it." And then she said, "You heard something, didn't you? I need you to talk to me, please." And he goes, "What? What do you want to talk about?" And then listen to this. He then goes, "You want to talk about Providence? Because there's no way out, is there? This place makes you think that you're doing the right thing. It gives you hope. Then it takes it away like it's feeding on your pain. You want to feed on my pain, etc." Anyway, the point is that use of the word providence is super random and inserted awkwardly in the dialogue in a pretty important scene. So what else can we say about the do you mind if I share my screen reel? Can you see that? I think I can see it on the screen. Let me know, guys, if you can't see.
Yes, I see it. I love that thumbnail, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it took me ages to make. But that's going to be my thumbnail. That's like this is basically the clue, some of the clues on the show here. And this is the thumbnail I'm going to be using for my presentation. And you're basically getting a preview of it here. But let me see. Can you guys still see it?
Yes.
Let
And
me
I
get.
also want to say this before you go further. The fact that he used providence in that conversation is just totally a clue. I mean, you can totally tell that it's a clue because it's totally out of context with what was going on. Like, why would he even use that word? What do you want to talk about? Providence? Like, who says that? Like, how is that? What is he talking about? Right. So it's
Exactly.
obviously thrown into the script for sure.
So, some of you may have noticed that there are connections to Lost on the show. There's connections to Stephen King. People have noticed. And actually, my belief of what's going on in the show is that there's an origin story of Fromland on John Cabot's expedition to Newfoundland. So just believe me there for a moment. Imagine, if you will, that during the creation of Fromland, which is a curse inside a witch's bottle, just believe me there for a second. The objects that are used to fight the boogeyman in that time period end up going back to Europe and being passed around by writers, artists, inventors, and philosophers, and musicians and composers across time. Where it's almost like the sisterhood of the traveling pants, which is when like a bunch of teenage girls, like they wear these pants that give them good luck and help them succeed in what they're doing, and then when they're done with it, they give it to the next person. So the writers in history across time, from the 1500s all the way to modern day, are passing these objects over time. And one object is a red book that you can actually see in the paintings of some of these people. And it ends up with Stephen King. And along the way, one of these writers will be H.P. Lovecraft. And actually, there's several writers that are the most important for the show here. And H.P. Lovecraft is basically one of the top three. Now, how do I know about H.P. Lovecraft here outside of the Providence reference? Well, there's these are the words here: weird, love, chaos, name, crawling, chaos, mountain, mad, cycle, dream, doom, tomb, wall, sleep, bugs, name, quest, outside, moon, rats, cool, and shadow. They're all keyword clues on the show, and they're also in the titles of his books. In Lovecraft's books, the jellyfish that we see on the wall is very similar to the floating horror or Cthulhu in his stories. The red book is the Necromonicon. The black man on the show is the boogeyman, Ike Medim, who is the man in black in Bear Talk mythology. This like special magical stone called the Trapezedron is the Graal stone, which is another object which I'll talk to you guys about later. The other really interesting thing is that they use the word benefit on the show. What's the benefit? What benefit is there of Kenny knowing? That's something that Ghost Catry says to Boyd. And isn't it interesting that one of Lovecraft's stories is set on Benefit Street? It's the street that inspired most of Lovecraft's stories that are in Providence. And Real, you and I are going to visit Benefit Street. We're also going to visit Providence Athenaeum Library, which is one of the oldest libraries in the whole of North America. And I'm pretty sure that in season 4, Tabitha and Eloise will visit Providence on part of their quest to figure out what's going on in Fromland. So those are the clues that
you see that comment right there.
Sorry, I've been in presentation mode. Let me have a look at what people are saying.
I put it up on
Are the objects passed around because they possess the power to make them successful in their craft? Yes, so not only do these objects make you successful, they also influence the stories that you're writing. The stories that these writers write, the operas that the composers wrote, the paintings that the painters painted, all of them are influenced by the origin story of Fromland. So if I go back to my presentation here, I'm going to go all the way to the start. So where does this start? Oh God, I've got this all in the wrong order. But let's look at Victor Hugo. So Victor Hugo is the reason why Victor is called Victor. Several of the historical figures in the origin story that I have figured out through other clues on the show, also by pure coincidence, I noticed, are also in the story of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the book. The barber Oliver Ladime is mentioned, Pierre Gringoire is mentioned, and Philippe de Comines is mentioned. And also, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was based on Triboulet, who was the first ever fool in medieval history. And he became the inspiration for Quasimodo. And isn't there a hell of a lot of bell ringing on the show from Boyd? And isn't Quasimodo the bell ringer? There's also a Feast of Fools, a witch trial, a perverted priest. And on the show, Boyd tells Sarah that he's following a hunch. And what's interesting as well is that Victor Hugo, he actually used Philippe de Comines. You can see him there. He was a famous French memoirist, and he used Philippe de Comines' memoirs to come up with the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, because it was written like 300 years later. I believe that this French guy, this memoirist, this guy who basically wrote a bunch of diaries and memoirs, he will be the narrator of the origin story of Fromland. So the red book that Tabitha and Eloise will receive from Stephen King at the end of season 3 or sometime in season 4. And Stephen King right now is filming with Jack Bender on the set of From for their new show, The Institute. But anyway, that red book, Philippe de Comines, the famous French memoirist who is in Newfoundland with John Cabot in the origin story, it will be his diary or part of his diary that Tabitha and Eloise will read. In fact, it's definitely the end of season 4 that Stephen King would show up, now that I think about it. But in any case, that diary is how we learn the origin story of Fromland, and it's going to become a giant flashback as Tabitha, over the course of the season, reads the diary and is chased by various secret sort of cult orders. who are all based around Rosicrucian mythology, Rosicrucian secret orders. But in any case, should I go into the emerald stuff? I think it's going to go over everyone's head real. I just don't know if people are going to get it.
I think people, that might be a little too much because this presentation right here is a little bit.
There's too many words and there's
it's
too much context.
It's too much context. That's what I was going to say. It's too much context, and then we still haven't even got to the Hugo Dante post.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to share that. I don't know how to share it. Maybe you could share it after this.
Yeah.
But in any case, it all ends with Stephen King, and this is the quest that Tabitha will go on. And by the way, I think I found the emerald. I'm going to just show it to you here. That emerald from Elizabeth I, this emerald is the emerald that Tabitha and Eloise will need to get towards the end of the season. I actually think they're going to need to heist it from the Tower of London. I know I sound like an insane person, but in the origin story, John Cabot breaks someone out of the Tower of London. So I think it would be poetic if she then breaks this pendant out of the Tower of London. And it is a jewel belonging to the royal family, and the Tower of London is now used to keep jewels. So I imagine that's what it will be. There's also where's the ring? Oh no, that's another. Oh, can I show you one more thing before I turn off? So you know
Absolutely.
how I have said in the past that this is all a game of tarot cards and chess pieces and game boards.
Yes.
From medieval history. Well, isn't it interesting that Alice in Wonderland has sentient playing cards and chess pieces and it's kind of a board game land with checkered floors and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it interesting that on From we have these four colors that keep being visible: black, blue, yellow, and sort of reddish pink. Now Lewis Carroll, who's going to be one of these top 3 writers, is going to be H.P. Lovecraft, Victor Hugo, and Lewis Carroll are going to be the biggest parts of Tabitha's quest. And did you guys notice that on the wall, the number for the speed? You see how they wrote down the speed that everyone arrived at?
Yes.
Can you see how they circled 68 miles per hour several times?
Yes.
That's because Lewis Carroll's books, he used the word white 68 times on the show, and he used the word red 68 times.
Right.
So he used to hide clues in his books, just like the show is hiding clues by overusing words in the dialogue a certain number of times.
What is the character who plays Tabitha's name?
Catalina Moreno.
Catalina, yeah.
Also, I believe that H.G. Wells will be one of these writers, Arthur Conan Doyle. I haven't written out all the clues on these yet. But anyway, and also Alfred and Alma Hitchcock. Notice how Alma, the goat, is called Alma, and people keep using the word psycho. He also made the birds, and aren't those crows creepy? There's a ring as one of the artifacts that are passed across time is a ring, and obviously we got the wedding ring that Fatima makes, and he made the ring as well. Strangers on a Train, references to train. Anyway, look, it is what it is. Hopefully,
we also have the references to the Hunchback of Notre Dame with Boyd being the bell ringer. What was the fool's connection?
Yeah. Okay. So Boyd is the fool, and he's the fool tarot card. He calls himself a dumb mother effer. He's always carrying things in bundles, just like the fool does. He's always following dogs. Like the fool card steps off a cliff and following a little dog. He's following a little dog off a cliff. And it's interesting, the first time Boyd follows the dog, he steps over a branch like he's stepping off a cliff.
Yeah, I saw that.
So in any case,
what about the Fool's Dance?
Yeah, so on in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and if you've seen the cartoon, they also do this. There's what's called the Feast of Fools. The Feast of Fools will occur in the origin story of From. In fact, a huge section of clues on the show point to a series of medieval festivals and celebrations from different countries around the world, including Iran, China, France, Germany, England, Scotland, a whole bunch of places. Even the Inuit celebration of the blanket toss is also celebrated. So they do a whole bunch of Christmas celebrations, and that protects them from the boogeyman for a while because of the like sort of ritualistic nature of them. And then when they're over, the fairies and boogeyman descend upon them. Sorry, I know that all sounds crazy again. But okay, I will drop off this now. Maybe you'd like to share the clue that I sent you, the Tabitha the Catalina Instagram post,
Yes,
and then that'll be
yes,
that.
we'll do that.
And I'll stop boring everyone with theories that are so far away from being proven that it just doesn't make sense until you see it on screen. But I'm very sure about this. This is the path that you can follow. It goes all the way from Leonardo da Vinci. It actually continues after Carl Jung to Stephen King down here somewhere.
And break down the Victor Hugo and Dante reference.
So on the show, they want, as far as I can tell, they want everyone to be right. So they want as many people to be right as possible. So there's the monsters are all sorts of different types of mythological creature at one point or another. There's Norse mythology in it. There's Greek mythology in it. There's fairy mythology in it. You know, there's a whole bunch. And one of the mythologies, you know how people are going to be guessing that they're in purgatory? Well, technically, they will be right because Dante's Purgatorio, which was his follow up to Dante's Inferno, that is an island that he visits and it's purgatory. So it's it's after hell he visits purgatory, and that journey to the mysterious island will be portrayed as a real journey to Newfoundland on in the like I don't actually think they'll show this. It'll be more something like Eloise explains when she's like researching the origins of these monsters, I think. But it means that the people who guess purgatory will also be technically right. I even think the alien people will be correct in that the fallen angels that started all this will will arrive in like flaming meteors from the sky. Okay, that's enough. I can tell I'm losing people. So I will stop sharing my screen and we can talk about something a bit more understandable.
Yo, and uh, hey Anna, we're in the building. We're in the building. Anna's in the building. She says it doesn't sound crazy at all. It doesn't really. It's just that you have so much information. Some people may find it hard to believe that this is what the showrunners were on. They look at it just from, okay, these guys just made a show. They wrote something, they did some screenplay, they wrote a screenplay for it. Then they drew some pictures to start illustrating it. And then they assembled a cast and just shot the show and they're just going straight for it. I don't think that's the case at all with the show that was inspired by 9/11 and been in the works for 20 years. The script has been written for 20 years and has been changed throughout the years. So I don't think that it's just as cut and dry. And I think that your theory definitely is like how it's like how these guys were putting the show together. It has to be very in depth, especially with the level of attention to detail that a show with such a small budget would adhere to. The budget is too small for them to pay so much attention to detail. So there was a lot of planning involved that
So much.
compensate. Right, yeah. I mean, you would have to compensate for the budget in some way. And I mean, when you're bringing on somebody like Harold, and then you have everybody that's around him is, not, I'm sure, not getting paid as much as he is. You know what I'm saying? The budget's probably not a wild, crazy budget. It doesn't
Mhm.
look like it. And um, I'm I'm sure that to compensate for that would be the work, would be the actual work and the design of the show itself. The set design, These people created their own set, the caves, everything, the houses. They took an existing place and modified it. The editing has been pristine. Um, and we can see that by like the little things that they've done. Tony brings up a great point about it being Miss Lou in the barn. You know, the sound bite that I discovered of them disguising the voice. I'm sorry. Them disguising that voice tells us a lot. If it
Mhm.
was just a random woman screaming, they probably wouldn't have disguised the voice because
Yeah.
it'll be hard to tell who it was. We'd have to just listen. Like when we first heard those screams in the barn, we were trying to figure out who it was based on what
Mhm.
the scream sounded like.
Yes,
A
exactly.
lot. I thought it was Sarah. You know what I mean? Because her scream sounded the most like that girl's scream. Then we find out that it was
Agreed.
actually Kelly from season 2.
Yeah.
So why would they do that? I could see if it was Tien Chen, her being screaming, her being tortured, and she would probably be screaming in her native language. And that's why they would have to like hide the voice. So when you have a show that's paying attention to detail in that way, I don't think that it's just going to be cut and dry. And I think you're right about it. They're trying to make most people right, as many people as right as possible, especially when you look at the way that they've been able to bring people that think in so many different ways together on one television show. Like this is for your history buffs because the clues are obviously there. This is for your horror people that like horror. They're actually adding a little love element in there. You have the love and hate element in there as well. You with the Tabitha and Jim going through a divorce, you have the situation with Kenny and Christy. They were getting heated up a little bit. She gave him a little kiss on the cheek and whatnot. And then you got the situation with her girlfriend coming into town. So like they brought something for everybody. They brought something for everybody with this show. So, you know, I see what people are saying by it, and I even see what you're saying by when you say yes, your theories sound crazy, but they don't really. Like if you're paying attention and if you have a passion for this show, people that are digging deep with this show are it's like a gold mine for the viewers. Like it keeps them busy between the episodes and it keeps them busy between the seasons. So I don't think and look, I mean the 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 uh the applause that you get for your theory, like people really love your theory. People really fuck with you.
Thank
You know
you.
what I'm saying? So I don't think it's crazy at all. I'm with Chocolate Beauty on that one.
Thank you.
Um
By the
uh
way, shall we show what so just to explain what's on the screen, guys,
that's what
that
I was about to say.
there is a cocktail called a Hugo, right? And there is a restaurant called Dante. However, I will say that I believe that John Griffin has given some like clues to the actors to share in their like numbers, emojis, symbols, and words to use when they're describing when they're making social media posts. And a lot of the clues are hidden this way. And I
Mm.
believe that this is a cue to Victor Hugo and Dante's Inferno.
Yes. Okay. Dante's Inferno. You got Dante. Because why would she let you know that that's a Hugo?
Yeah, I mean, look, I believe it's a clue. We may not be 100% correct, but it may be a clue. So, we'll have to see. Um, anyway, that
What do you think about the water bottle back there?
I think I just think it's a normal I think it's whoever's eating with her's water bottle. I think the clue is in Hugo and Dante. I think the water bottle is not part of it,
The
personally.
Hugo, okay.
Yeah.
The Hugo and Dante.
Mm. I just wanted
Okay.
to show you something, by the way. I've got it queued up on my screen to share.
Sure.
This is where we're going in Providence, the Providence Athenaeum.
Oh, nice. That's real
Um,
dope.
yeah, we're 100% going there. We're also gonna visit, um
And this
Lovecraft.
is for and just to be clear, people, this is not the Newfoundland trip. This is a trip that we're going to take in October during the season.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and do a live stream from um uh uh was it, yeah, it's Rhode Island that Julie's near, from Providence, ideally. And then if Julie's around, she will join us and we'll all live stream together. We'll probably watch the episode and then discuss it afterwards. And I think that's the massacre episode where they do something to Fatima and her baby. And what's cool is that that's Julie's theory as well, although she's kind of gone off it now. But yeah, anyway, so we're gonna go to H.P. Lovecraft's house as well, which is this one. We're not going to go inside, obviously. It's not a tourist attraction. I think it's someone's home. But some people go there. And then lastly, we are going to Benefit Street. And remember, they actually use the word benefit on the show in an awkward way. So let me just cue it up. HP Lovecraft.
Feel better, Alyssa. Feel better, Alyssa Ann. Good. I'm glad you stopped by today and build with us a little something. Feel better.
Oh yeah, sorry to hear. I want to go just for the books. Well, we may just tell people where we're going to be, and people can come join us if they wish. So we might pick a cafe in Providence and say, anyone who wants to make the drive and do a from meetup, we will be there. We're still thinking about that. We're not 100%, but we may do it. So yeah, so we're also going to go to this place called Benefit Street, which is like one of H.P. Lovecraft's his it inspired him, and one of the houses is like he set one of his stories in one of the houses. Now, just for like full disclosure, H.P. Lovecraft did have some racist ways of thinking, which were not uncommon at the time that he lived, but it's something that we should acknowledge when we talk about H.P. Lovecraft. And we're not going there, for the love of H.P. Lovecraft necessarily. We're going there for the love of From, and because we want to see if we can get a picture or a video somewhere where they will later film on the show. So I think that would be really cool.
That would be really cool. If they go to Pride, I think they will. The clue is definitely there for sure. That's definitely a H. Lovecraft clue with the Providence. Look at what Chocolate Beauty said. He was definitely a racist, and that's why I love the HBO show. Yes, the HBO show was really good. It's sad that they canceled Lovecraft Country because that was too fire, too dope. Like I
Oh, did they
remember
cancel
watching
it?
those first episodes. Those first 2 episodes had me like stuck.
It had a
Did you see
sundown
Lovecraft
and everything,
Country?
didn't it? I watched the first few episodes, but I can't remember why I didn't keep watching it. I think I was confused by something.
Yeah, I was confused by episode 5. I'm not gonna say what happened, but I'm just saying I was confused. It just threw me for a loop. I was sitting there watching the shit with my mom, and it was definitely something that we yeah, it was not cool. But and it just came out of nowhere. There was no build up for it, so you knew kind of like to turn your head or nothing like that. I'm sitting there watching the show with my mom. We were loving it, and then episode 5 came with some bullshit. But it's all good.
So real, if we see a giant squid or some sort of red jellyfish in season 3, H.P. Lovecraft Providence guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because of Cthulhu and all his tentacle monsters.
I was just about to say Tentacle Monsters. He has kind of like a John Carpenter vibe with, John Carpenter pulls a lot from H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, indeed. Have you ever seen the movie In the Mouth of Madness? Who has seen In the Mouth of Madness?
No, I haven't.
In the Mouth of Madness is definitely one of the dopest movies ever created. And In the Mouth of Madness, I might even cover that movie for y'all. I might go back and watch it, do some vibes on it. Yes, thank you for the super chat. Steve on the East Coast says yes. And I'm thinking he's answering the question, have you ever seen In the Mouth of Madness? It's about you will enjoy this. It's about an author named Sutter Kane who has gone missing, and his publishing company hire a private investigator to find him. And people are starting to read his books and go crazy, and they start to like snap out and like kill people on the streets after reading this dude's book. And I'll just stop there just in case you haven't seen the movie.
I mean, I
But
love the main actor in it. He was in Event Horizon as well, wasn't he? What's his name? And
yeah,
Jurassic Park,
yes,
whoever he is.
yeah,
Forgot
bro
his
is
name.
fire. Bro is fire.
He's a
He
good
killed
actor.
this role. This role is so good. Now, I brought that up because it's another John Carpenter joint who draws a lot from H.P. Lovecraft. The thing is, in the Mouth of Madness, the author, whatever he writes, comes true. And a lot of people have that theory about Victor. I'm wondering if there are any John Carpenter clues in From now. I got to go back and look because
Okay,
John Carpenter.
okay. So
Go ahead.
get this, man. I believe that in the Canadian version of Fromland, which will be visited through a mirror, okay,
Mm.
the monsters will look like Canadian 1960s sitcom characters. And do you know what one of the Canadian main sitcom characters might be?
What?
A hockey player wearing a hockey mask.
Okay, I can see that. Hockey's
And
big in
wouldn't that
Canada.
inspire Michael Myers's no, who's the one who wears the hockey mask? It's Jason,
Jason.
isn't it? So whoever made Jason, that guy is on it.
Ooh, who made Jason?
That guy is one of the
I
people
forgot who
passing
made
objects
Jason.
down. I think I have Carpenter as one of my relic seekers. Let me have a look for him. John Carpenter. Do I
Okay,
have
so
him?
Sean Cunningham, Victor Miller,
No, I don't have him. I
Ron
don't have him on
Curry.
my list. I have been on his page. I can see that I visited it before. I've even clicked Halloween.
Tom
Sarah
Sivening.
Myers. Okay, yeah, no, he should be on it. I just don't know. He just didn't fit. He is on it though, because
Who?
Sarah Myers is called Myers because of this. I think pretty much every major filmmaker in horror is part of these chains of objects being passed across time. And I think I
Mm.
don't think they're gonna be able to run us through every single one because there's literally like 300 of them or something. No, it's not that many, but it's like at least 100, probably 200. So I actually think we're just gonna see these lists, and people are gonna have to freeze frame it to see the list and read through it carefully. They're not go I think the only one that we're gonna see them actually investigate is the one that ends in Stephen King. But they may also go to the one, that ends with Stephen Fry and the one that ends with, um, Neil deGrasse Tyson, potentially, or Tim Burton or Neil Gaiman. Um, if we see cameos on the show, it'll be those guys.
Good night, Cal. Cal is in the UK as well, in Manchester. See, I knew it was a good idea to start doing these early lives so that people in your time zone could tune in, because we get a lot tuning in at that time. Look at there. We have somebody from Sylvania.
Yeah, man, you could be the European from streamer.
Hey,
You could pick up all the European live people.
I have to start working on my British accent.
Well, you know you've always got somewhere to stay if you come to London. I know you
Um,
just got your passport ready, right?
yes, indeed. The passport's ready.
I need
Um,
to renew my visa for the United States if we're gonna go to Providence next month.
okay. Okay.
That'll be fine. But
Yes,
yeah, I
indeed.
think it's gonna be good. We'll go there. I just don't know what we're gonna do in Camden, Maine, to be honest. Hopefully, those first 4 episodes will have come out, So we'll have some idea of what Tabitha's doing in Camden, Maine. Then we can go to the places that she went to, and we should definitely swing by Stephen King's house. He doesn't live there. It's more like a museum and a writing retreat now. But you can go up to the front gates. So we
Oh,
could
nice.
drive. I
Wayne's
know
in
we're gonna rent
London
a
as
car.
well.
Yeah,
Wayne's
man.
Wayne's
You're
in
getting
London.
all the Brits and the Slovenians. Was it Slovenia? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Susie said, I'm just here in North Carolina. It's all good. Well, you gotta be careful though. So when you're driving and you see that down tree, everybody, I implore you to keep a chainsaw in the car. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. I mean, the clues the clues in this show is talking about a book that's been passed around to successful craftsmen, and that seems to be like an actual thing that actually really happened. What if Frumlin is real? What if there is a situation where, there's been some very hard to explain occurrences happening throughout American time? Who knows? That would be crazy. What would be even crazier is if there is from in every country based on the history and the turmoil and all of these different things, and there's a way that all these different places are connected, because even your theory connects a lot to things that didn't happen here in America. That's where I kind of lose some of it at. Some of your theory
Mm-hmm.
is because it's not like connected exclusively to America. However, the show itself, if they're talking about American history, then it would be talking about settlers coming from other places and stuff. So I really don't know. That's where I'm kind of like caught at,
But you
where
see the connections, right, to the
I
Hunchback
totally
of
see the
Notre Dame.
connections. The
Yeah.
connections are definitely there.
So if the Hunchback of Notre Dame is connected to From, you know, that it has to connect in some way. So why couldn't it be a red diary being passed across time?
Yeah,
And if you were someone like John Griffin and you wanted to reference, so can I tell you something?
sure.
I believe that what From is ultimately about, thematically speaking, is the origins of the world's mythical and religious stories, their cyclical nature, and the archetypal characters and symbols that feature therein, all told through the lens of North American history and historical figures involved in the evolution of literature, art, music, and philosophy. So if he's telling the story of how humanity's stories all echo each other and have common themes and symbols and sort of archetypal characters, the magician, the clown, the singer, the dancer, the policeman, the king, the prophet, whatever, right? They have these archetypal characters that seem to appear in all of our stories, no matter if they're separated by time or geography. So now let's extrapolate from that reel. If John Griffin wants to echo the evolution of literature, art, music, and philosophy, if he wants to show how these stories have common themes and symbols across time, such that they can actually create chains of historical figures passing objects across time, and just with these basic common clues, highlighting these similarities between their stories,
Mhm.
Wagner's Ring and Tolkien's Ring, they're passing Erasmus's signet ring across time, being inspired to write stories about magical rings, because Wagner, he wrote this whole opera called The Ring that was super called the Nibelung, which means ring. And Tolkien receives it later, after Wagner. So, you know, if let's say you were trying to focus it all on North America, what are you going to do for those 200 years between 1500, when the curse starts, and 1800, if you're only going to focus on North American inventors, philosophers, writers, and musicians?
Right. No, I'm with you
You
there. That's
can't.
what makes me consider these things. You can't really do it because American history is really world history, to be honest with you. I think that's just the same as like so-called Black history is American history. Like they're just intertwined. You can't have one without the other.
But
Ex-
in 1600 in North America, how many great works of literature, art, music, and philosophy were created during that time?
Right. Yeah.
There's just a bunch of people running around New England, burning witches and stuff. They weren't, don't get me wrong. Okay, I don't want to denigrate. There were musicians, there were philosophers, there were writers, there were artists, but the vast majority of the evolution of mythology and stories and music and philosophy, these movements in art, cubism, you know, um, expressionism, um, all these different, horror, science
Mm.
fiction,
Percy
fantasy.
makes a great point. The
What's he?
the tower dates predate American history.
Well,
Not necessarily,
it
but
depends on if you think I mean, first of all, we're talking about North American history from the European perspective. That's the first thing, because obviously Native Americans would say we were here long before
I was just
1506.
about that was going to be my point. That was
But the other thing is North American history does predate 1506, actually. Because we've got John Cabot arriving in 1498 to
yeah, you
Newfoundland
have the Vikings coming to Newfoundland.
in the year 1000 as well. So and you even have in the 1300s a legend of a Scottish Templar called Henry Sinclair coming to Newfoundland. So
Okay. So
so
that
you
wouldn't
have
be a good point to make the point that it has to be um non-exclusive to America. No.
no, not necessarily. But
Right.
I will say, John Griffin, he's got these artifacts being passed across time in Europe because he still wants to show how From connects to all these major sections of art and literature and music and philosophy. Even Lost, right? The creator of Lost, or one of them, will be on. I guarantee you, they're going to show him receiving. He's going to be. It's going to be an Easter egg. I guarantee you, his name will appear on the show at some point. One of the creators, not the one who was rude about Harold Perrineau, the other guy.
Look at
Uh,
that. Look at what Hughes just said.
yeah, John Cabot, I didn't know he existed really until I did write a book about missing people, um, and he came up in my research, but he was one of, many people, and I didn't really pay much attention to him. It did help me then identify John Cabot as the correct person, but guys, like, I am still kind of flabbergasted that the John Cabot theory is not being explored by more people, and I'm basically the only one talking about it. Like, I wish I could convince everyone all of the clue chains, every single one of them, the way I've been able to arrive at my conclusions. And I know this sounds super arrogant, like, oh, you think you've solved it. Like, how could you have solved it? You definitely don't know what's going on. You're just theorizing. And I get that. But it's my belief that it literally can't be anyone else but John Cabot. Like, only a few people arrived in North America um, um, in before 1506. There were Europeans that arrived in North America before 1506, but
Look
not
at
a
what Percy
single.
just said.
Uh, I mean, maybe most of my theory is not heavily European based at
I
all.
was just about to
Really,
say it's not really.
it's just that part is connected to European history, um, but it's primarily around literature and art. The historical Most of the historical mystery takes place in North America. Basically, after Fromland's created, it's mostly North American history of European literature and art and stuff. There's also a segment on the Golden Dawn, the Nazis, and a Rosicrucian order created by A.E. Waite, which is all exclusively European. Um, but interestingly, when the Viking, Greek, Irish, Welsh, um, and sort of Christian mythologies come into it, that's also technically originally European and Middle Eastern and not North American. So there are mythologies and history outside of North American history that does feature on this show, but they're gonna connect it all to North
Yeah,
American
I was
history.
gonna say that because because Christianity was actually a reason why a lot of the settlers came over here to, you know, uh, practice the religion that
Exactly.
they wanted to practice.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
And that's a whole thing that did you know that there's a priest that accompanied John Cabot to Newfoundland?
right, that's what I'm saying. You see all these clergymen and priests and things like that, and I'm sure a lot of these people were very well versed in their cultural magic and cultural, you know what I'm saying, spells and things of that nature. That if we look at even the Haitian Revolution, the Haitians used voodoo to fight that war, to help them fight that war. When you look at the Colombo people, they all in the movie Colombo, this they talk about this in the Changeling. They used magic to fight against the Portuguese.
Yep.
So, even when you look at like Islam, when you have like a jihad,
Mhm.
that's a religious thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole religious thing.
Mhm.
So, which is, they're fighting in battle, dying in battle.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And they
I
have
gotta
the
say, I think Christians are not gonna like fundamentalist Christians in the United States are gonna absolutely hate this show
after they
because
drop the certain jewels that they drop. A lot of fundamental Christians hate the movie The
Harry
Deliverance
Potter.
that just came out on Netflix.
Oh, I don't
Um
know. I don't know about that
yeah,
one.
the Deliverance just came out. It's about a woman's house who got haunted and all of this. A lot of people think that it was based on a true story. However, a lot of people think that the lady made the shit up. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't real. But people have been kind of using this movie to kind of say, hey, get right with God. And a lot of Christians are like, hey, don't use that movie because that movie is demonic or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well,
But
the problem with this is that it's gonna show, like, the Garden of Eden and Noah, you know? It's gonna show Noah's story, it's gonna show Cain and Abel's story, it's gonna show Canaan's story, it's gonna show, Lilith from, like, a sort of Jewish version of the Garden of Eden story, um, and also it's gonna portray priests as, like, witch burners and, um,
what up,
madmen.
Bank Run?
But at the same time, we've got Katri, who's a good priest. We have Carbonaris, who's probably gonna be a good priest. So, yeah, I don't I yeah, I just think, if you're one of those people who gets super offended by anything as a fundamentalist, I don't think they're gonna enjoy it. But, uh, I don't know. I think that I genuinely think, if I'm correct in my theory, that this show is like the biggest risk any showrunner has ever created because it's so complex and there's a lot of history in it. And I wrote a book with tons of historical figures and historical references in it, and it didn't get appreciated by very many people. So
Yeah,
I'm
there's been a lot of shows like this actually, but they've all been wrapped up in like these cheesy adventure shows.
yeah, that's
However, this show is wrapped up in a very intriguing horror mystery, and that's what I think makes it work.
but if Ben Franklin comes up as a character on the show, if Bigfoot becomes a character on the show, if if the founding fathers are literally on this show as characters talking to Tabitha, well, not Tabitha, probably more likely like Jim or Kenny, you know, if 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 that's the if that's the case, um, I wonder if some people will switch off and be like, this show's too weird for me. And by the way,
Yeah.
sorry, when I say Christian fundamentalist, I don't actually know what that means. Maybe I'm parroting like CNN or something. I don't really know what it means. What I mean is someone who's extremely, extremely religious who gets offended when their interpretation of their religion is portrayed in a different way. I'm not saying that like all Christians will hate this show at all. In the same, if you didn't like, if you hated Harry Potter because you think it like promotes Satanism, that sort of thing. Just to be clear, because I don't want to offend people.
Right.
So I my family's Christian, at least on my mother's side. So I'm not very religious, but maybe I'm more spiritual, I guess I would say. But yeah, I don't want to offend anyone. So I'm not saying like all Christians or strong Christians with strong beliefs. I just mean people who get offended on behalf of their religion very easily. But anyway, we'll see. I mean, look, there's a kite shown several times on the show. I think that's a clue to Ben Franklin. We'll see.
Carrie.
There's the
Carrie.
giant squid, giant jellyfish. There it is. There's the bear talk in their red ochres.
Yes. Now, Carrie asked a good question. Do these and my answer to it is yes. She said, "Do these people look like they're worshiping something?" And they
So
do.
I'm not clear. I see 7 stones there, 7 altars.
Mhm.
I previously believed that they were supposed to represent like playing cards. Now I believe that they are showing the version of Fromland. No, it's not a version of Fromland. They're basically showing the ritual that traps the boogeyman in the year 1000 with the Vikings. So the Vikings did their own ritual to fight the boogeyman and won, right?
Are you talking
Then,
about this one right here?
yes, that one right there. So I think that represents the Vikings fighting. I don't know who. I think it's the boogeyman. It could be his mom, or it could be his dad. His mom, his dad is also technically his brother, so which is kind of freaky. There's like a whole incest section in the Garden of Eden section, which is kind of freaky. But yeah, so that is what I think that is. I think that is potentially the Viking segment of the show when they actually do child sacrifice to trap the boogeyman in what's called a blot ritual, which involves the sacrifice of a boar, slitting throats, collecting blood, sprinkling it with twigs, that sort of thing.
Okay, so Carrie's touching on my point here. I think that this is a prophecy. I don't think that this is telling the story about what happened. I think this is a
Oh, I
prophecy.
gotta doubt that. I gotta doubt that because of the ships, man.
I Yeah, I think that it's a prophecy backwards. I think it's going backwards.
Now
Um,
that I can agree with, but I think the stuff on the right is 1500 and the stuff on the left is year 1000.
okay, so this right here, like I said in my theory, okay, so Carrie was talking about the red people over here.
Yeah, the bear talk, in my opinion.
Right. Okay, so these people here seem to be worshiping or praying for the crops to grow. Okay.
You would think that, and I do agree that those are crops. I do agree, although they could potentially be birds on wires as well.
They could
How
be.
if you zoom in very closely, how many of them have 2 wings? Do any of them have 3 wings? They all look like these. They all look like birds, if you ask me. So we don't
Right.
know what those are. It's very
They look like sprouts to me. They
they
look
could be
like
sprouts.
sprouts. They actually look like the sprout emoji.
The actors use sprout emojis all the time on the show.
And
But I do think
that's what I was gonna say. And that was even part of one of my theories. I think at the end of season 3, we're going to see a sprout come out of the ground to signify that there are new beginnings and stuff like that. Because
what
that's what the sprout emoji means.
why do you think oatmeal is a clue on the show?
Um, Oatmeal was a big clue on the changeling as well, and I think it has to do with the Quakers,
Okay.
which are a
I can
very
disagree
huge
there,
part
but
of American history.
I can see where you're coming from.
I
Um,
had some information on that for last year, and I never got around to making that video. But if you
mhm,
look here on all the birds seem to be like depicted as, like this
fine. Yeah,
with the
fine.
wings flapping. Like
Yeah.
they even have some here. Here's some birds here. I think these are birds. or just, maybe broken stone or something.
I mean, look, we're supposed to think that F symbol is trees, but it's not.
Right. Okay, so here's a better. All right, so I think that this is Mr. Fish and Loaves. This right here has something to do with Mr. Fish and Loaves or the Vesica Pisces. Okay.
I think it's the Vesica Pisces, I agree, and I also think it represents the Canadian mirror world and the American mirror world.
Right. Oh, okay. So I could get with you on that. And then I think that this is Boyd and Sarah. I think that this is Boyd and Sarah right here. And I
It could
think
be so. So, in the origin story, my understanding is that whenever in every cycle, the soldier and the witch face off against the boogeyman. In the John Cabot timeline, it's Juan Borgia and Bridget of York. In
Mhm.
modern day Fromland, it's Tabitha and Boyd, I think, because he's the soldier, Tabitha's the like witch archetype.
Mm.
I think in the Odysseus timeline, it's Odysseus the soldier and Circe the witch.
Ah,
In the Viking timeline, I think it's Thorville the hunter and Freydis Eriksson the witch.
right.
So every timeline, it's a woman and a man facing the boogeyman. The man doesn't always die, but I think Juan Borgia does. So
Now that I think about it, this could all right, so if these represent trees, this could also be Kenny and Jim finding these cabins while the rest of the people are praying for the food back at home. I could see that being the situation here. But before
not
my
my
early
interpretation, but it could be.
right. Now my interpretation was that this was Boyd and Sarah, and this is also Boyd and Sarah. Let me see. Where's the other picture at? Okay, so yeah. So now you see them over here. I also think that this is Boyd and Sarah up here.
Could it not be a mother and child, a mother and son?
It could be. Yeah, most definitely it could be.
What if the boy in white is Bridget of York's son?
That would be crazy as hell.
And what if they keep his evil twin around to torture Bridget and remind and she can never see him, but she knows he's there. And he is constantly used as the avatar for Loop Guru.
Mm.
So Bridget is the avatar for the spider, which is why she's lived
So
so
you're
long.
talking about the wolf man.
Yeah, sorry, I've gone off completely off topic. I apologize. But
No.
those ships, they don't look. I mean, I guess they could be canoes. They could be canoes.
Yeah, I think that it's telling the story. I think it's a prophecy. And I also think that what Donna is looking for is to fulfill some sort of prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
We don't know. We don't know.
This right here, it just looks like a timeline being told backwards.
Hmm.
And it could be Jade and Kenny as well. Now, this here, to me, we have the 7 stones in the symbol right here. I believe that this has something to do with the children
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. I mean, it's kind of obvious, a little bit, I guess. But there are more people than there are on the stones. They're like, nothing on the stones. I think that at some point we'll see a bunch of people down there in the tunnel. They're gonna go there to take it to the monsters. You know what I mean? Why kill a monster?
Why do you think there's a broken tree on the road?
A broken tree on the road is to stop them, to make them turn around. Because I think once you get to the tree, you've already passed through the portal.
Well, I agree with that, but why have a tree at all? Why not just have them drive into town? Surely, in the origin
Because
story,
for
someone
whatever reason, they need them to turn around.
see, that's where we disagree. I think the tree is actually a huge clue. I think the broken
Absolutely.
I think that in the origin story, they chop down a fairy tree of some kind. And that is why you always see a fallen tree in when you come to Fromland. And I also think that it's a reference to the Yule log.
The Yule log. Okay. That's
So
a good one.
there's so many references to Yule on this show, in my opinion. I won't go through them now. But in Yule, what they used to do, it's a pagan Christmas ritual where they would chop down a tree, branches, leaves, and all, and they would drag it into their home and they would burn it from the bottom to the top in the fire. And whenever it would burn a big section of it, they'd shift it in a bit more, and it would make the whole house smell like pine needles, and the fire would burn merrily all through that Christmas time, winter solstice period.
Oh
And I
man, when we
believe
go
that,
back through that conversation with Boyd and Kenny, Kenny straight up says it. He says that the blood is soaked into the wood.
yeah, that too.
He
So I
says the
think,
blood is soaked into the wood when he was referencing his. Can y'all hear this?
Where's the family?
yep.
Father Kachi's bringing them back up to Colony House.
They shouldn't be up there.
They shouldn't be up there,
That's
he
what they
said.
wanted. It's only for the night. What are you doing out here?
I needed some wood for the new set. We never varnished the pieces. We made it together. It's one of the only things we ever it's ruined now. The blood soaked into the wood. You know, with my dad.
Yeah, he was saying that the blood soaked into the wood. I just think that's a
Mm.
clue for sure.
So what if in the origin story in 1500 they find this big old gnarled tree and they're like, that'll be perfect for our Yule log, and they cut it down, but it's a fairy tree, and they release the fairies from where they've been trapped by the tree, and that's when all the trouble begins.
That's a
And maybe
that's a
that's
great
why
theory.
we see a fallen log. And what if Troy stands for the rituals of Yule?
The rituals of Yule. That's crazy.
I also think it actually is a clue for Troy as well, because Odysseus's island is also represented as Newfoundland in the origin story. You see, in Dante's Inferno, Odysseus is chained up in hell, and they ask him, you know, what happened to you? And he says, well, I returned to the island in the Atlantic. I sailed beyond the Atlantic and I got swallowed up by a whirlpool. And don't they have drawings of whirlpools in the background on the show? And I think that they're going to have Odysseus go back to Circe's island in the origin story and face the boogeyman that way.
Yes, indeed. And Hugh says Jade's radio tree was also blood soaked. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. And in the Bob Dylan song, Debbie Ebby Bo Bebby pointed out that in the Bob Dylan song, A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, he said, I saw a black branch that kept dripping blood. So the songs are definitely picked for a reason. I even put that in one of my predictions that a song by Steelers will be in the show called Stuck in the Middle. And that kind of comes right directly out of Taran's theory. Taran's theory is what made me theorize that theory. When we're talking about the jokers in the card game, poker is being referenced on the show a lot as well. Poker's referenced, flush, all in, straight, you know, two pair, you know what I mean? These kind of things are poker references. And the cards, there are a lot of cards on the show as well. And I believe that that reference is definitely seen there with the soaked blood on the tree and the poker references and all of that. But Terrence's theory made me think about the Steelers Will song Stuck in the Middle, because there's a line in there where it says clowns to the left, jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. So and that's right there in the bridge of the song, that's when everybody starts singing actually. But yeah, I'm definitely, the songs definitely mean something. The songs are referencing stuff. We've even seen it firsthand with the "If I Had a Boat" song. You know, Boyd was using the song to try to convince his family to let him buy a boat. I mean, it's then that was used as his sign to go out into the woods. So, yeah, I definitely believe so. I
Mm.
believe that we will see a boat. One thing about that movie, The Watchers, has a lot of similarities with From. The only way out of that place was on a boat.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll digress there.
So real, I have to go now. Unfortunately, I've got to do some stuff. But
Okay.
thank you very much for having me on the show today. Maybe people can call in. You know, I know people love calling in, but they don't feel like they can when I'm here as your guest. So it would be lovely to have a few people calling in, maybe, and continuing the conversation. And I will catch up tomorrow. But
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
thanks
I'll
very
put
much.
it.
We'll organize our trip soon, I'm sure. And
Yes.
hopefully in a month and a 20s 20 days time, more or less, we'll be in Providence, about to uh get wildly excited if the eclipse theory was correct, and if Fatima really does have a demon baby put inside her. That would be super interesting.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. We have very vastly different theories on the Fatima's pregnancy.
Yeah, we'll see who's
Um,
right there. That'll be
yeah,
interesting.
we'll see who's right on that one. I think that Fatima's pregnancy will be a part of the cliffhanger for season 3. I don't think we'll get the baby.
But they stopped mentioning it after episode 8. The last time it's a problem is episode 7.
Right.
That's my
Right.
only that's sorry, not to disagree with you, I'm just saying that's have you considered that?
Oh yeah. Right. They started talking about it being a problem. They built up with that. Yeah.
And they
But
need to
there's a
make a
lot
big decision, and then episode 8, nothing about it.
nothing about the decision they made. Yeah, because they don't want to give it away. So that's
Although
why.
they say there's a tragedy of some sort after a
Mm,
tragedy, and then there's accusations being thrown.
I just want to say this about the show descriptions. Last year, they damn near gave away everything with the show descriptions. And I think this year they're being a little bit more keen to that. Last year we knew that a monster was going to die. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? We knew that a monster was going to die for the longest. We just didn't know how, who, how it was going to happen. We already knew it was going to happen though because it said like what was it? Description number 7 talked about, well, after they've killed the monster now, then the description kind of told us that. So I think that they're being a little bit more keen to that this season, and they're not dropping like real heavy clues because they even, I don't know if they did it or the titles and the episode names and shit got switched up a little bit as well. I still haven't looked at both of them side by side to figure out why or or what that was. I don't know how that happened. That was probably some, a fan or some sort of publisher had done that. I don't know. Somebody
hmm.
published the article or something, like I don't know what done it. But Rotten Tomatoes seems to have like the best information on the show description so far.
And those show descriptions were intentionally written to confuse, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Everything about both trailers, both trailers were made to confuse as well. The chronology of the trailer is just all over the damn place. Like you can't tell what the hell's going on. You got to look at the clothes just to know and kind of get a view on it.
Mm.
So there's
And
going to be two.
by the way, From just tweeted, "Who could it be?" question mark, and then a phone emoji, basically saying who's called Jim and showing a clip where the phone calls Jim. But there's no new footage or anything, just so you
Oh,
know.
so they just posted that?
Yeah.
That's a good
So,
question. Who could it be?
but
And
anyway,
I
I
think
gotta go, man.
yes,
Take it easy.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Great to have you as always, brother. Like, yo, we cooking right now.
Take it easy, my friend. Bye-bye.
Peace. Yo, so that was the great Taran Matharu. Definitely here. We have a great bond when it comes to this show for sure. Um, we're going on 2 trips. The first trip is going to be next month in October. We're just gonna stay. It's gonna be here in the States, going up to Providence, Rhode Island, and no, we're privileged to have you guys. Like, I'm pretty sure he started doing what he's doing for the same reason. Like, I didn't know anybody out there that was talking about the show in the way that I speak about the show. And so I pretty much created my channel to try to find a few people. I thought that I was just going to be sitting there with like 20 people in my comment section going back and forth at the most and having fun with the show. I don't like Reddit. A lot of snarky attitudes and shit on Reddit when you post something. So I said, man, let me do a YouTube page. And I was looking for about maybe 20 or something people. And here we are sitting on a live stream with 100 people and 4,800 followers or subscribers on the channel. Like, I definitely did not think that that was going to happen, but we're here and we're having a good time. We're having fun deciphering this show, looking at the clues, checking it out. I'm glad that I found people that look at it from this perspective. So like, I'm just as fortunate as you feel, you know. What's up? Julie's in the building. Julie is in the building. I saw Julie in there. Where did she go? I don't know where she went. Where did she go? There she is. Yes. Dr. Deb. She's saying hey to Dr. Deb. Julie's in the building. How you doing? Yeah, I didn't want to make this a very long stream. I have some stuff to do this evening. Getting some stuff ready for the season. Trying to get a couple of videos done before before the new season starts. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Subscribe to Julie's channel. She'll be dropping some videos shortly. I'm sure they're gonna be real dope. Thank you, Miss Deb. Thank you everybody for stopping out. Yo, let me if y'all got my email is in my page bio. I am gonna start doing some after dark streams soon. I get home from the studio late sometimes or I'm up late a lot of times. And why not do some after dark streams? And we can talk about things other than from, you know, things that'll make us laugh and think about things, relationships, all that. Let's talk about it. Let's build. Shoot me some suggestions in my email and I will let you guys know when I start doing the after dark streams so that we can kind of laugh, have a good time, you know. I'll probably do one a week. I will start off with one a week, see how they are. I'm up late all the time, so we'll do at least one a week. We might up it to two, who knows? But yes, indeed, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, get them out there to everybody. Yes, yes. Oh, Beverly's in the building. Yes, indeed. Yes, you got to catch the rewatch because we about to shut it down. There's a lot of things I got to get to. I have some work sitting in front of me. Stay tuned to those daily shorts, by the way. I'm using them in the way to get my new subscribers acquainted with some of my theories. I try to pull out pieces from older videos and newer videos that I think will kind of get you abreast to what I talk about here on my channel. But yeah, here's the email. If you have any suggestions on topics for the After Dark streams, let me know. Send them to the email, realenigmasandtheories@gmail.com. Very easy. Bank Run, my man's up in the building. Peace, how you? Yeah. I appreciate everybody. 7 children to sacrifice in order to win the game. That's why monsters target children and why Colony House is a freak show at night. Ooh. Yes. I think that her plan is even a little bit more nefarious than that. I think it's a freak show so that she can get somebody up there pregnant. Well, not her specifically getting someone pregnant, but her aiding in the atmosphere that will make somebody get pregnant. And next thing you know, she's got a baby that she can offer to the deity so that the deity can come through this person's baby. And I think that's what's going on with Fatima. And so on that note, I'm going to leave y'all here. We'll get together. I'll see you Saturday. I'll keep you posted on when we're going to do the multi-stream with the multiple creators. We got Welcome to the Dark Side. I reached out to TV Theories. Yeah, we're going to do another multiple stream and have you guys up. Me, Tony, Taran, TV Theories, Welcome to the Dark Side. Hopefully we can get in touch with the movie guru. I saw that, Dr. Deb, by the way. I saw that whole thing. But it's all good. It's no problem. I don't have a problem. So if you could reach out and tell him that I'm willing to bring him up on the stream and we do a multiple stream, that'd be dope. That we can get all the creators. I don't know, I saw that comment. I didn't know what that was about. You know what I mean? I was totally shocked by it, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't have a problem, and he shouldn't have one. You know what I mean? So we can come together, do a stream. I think us smaller creators of less than 100,000 followers should kind of stick together, especially when we're talking about a show that could have so many different point of views to go to it. We have so many different people. We have the alien theory. We got the mole theory. We got the clone theory. We got the fourth dimensional being theory. We got the indigenous magic, the magic theory. We got the fays and fairies. We got the Cthulhu. We got so many different aspects of this show that people can buy into. And so I just think that the creators kind of personify those different realms of school of thought, and us coming together, making streams together is a way that we can keep the fans and the people. Now, I don't even like calling y'all fans. I just like calling y'all the people, that the viewers. You guys are the viewers, because it's nothing fanatic about it, really. It's just that we all love the show and we love talking to one another. So I think that we should all kind of get together and do these streams. And we started the first one on Tony's page, and we streamed it on my page, E-Man's page, and the movie blogs page. Now we can stream it on everybody else's page. We can stream it on TV Theories page. Welcome to the Dark Side. We can all stream it at the same time. I'll send everybody the link. We'll do it from my page this next time. And then I think if we can get Jeremy Ice and Fire involved, I love that guy. He's so cool. He got a dope channel. He keeps the conversation going. He really highlights everybody's theories and perspectives. And I like the way he runs his live stream. I hope that we can get him to run one of these multi-streams in the way that he runs his. So he's always a friend. I've made him and Tony both mods on my channel. And I think that that's how we should do it, So holla at me. So just a little something to think about while we wait on that next episode. That's all for the live stream this afternoon. I'll catch everybody in the next one. Peace.